Before I introduce the next piece, I just want to note that there will be a brief pause after the Beethoven. It's not on the program, but just a short intermission before the final two pieces, which are Patrick Burke's and Mark Danziger's new pieces, which are going to be played as a set together after the break. I mentioned when I was talking to Asha on stage my interest in working with composers and in premiering new music, and one of the things that's fascinating about that process to me is the way that it makes me rethink my connection to older music. I grew up playing all of the great classics of the 18th and 19th and early 20th century, and came to the 21st century actually around the turn of the 21st century in a way. It was when I went to graduate school that I started working with composers. Prior to that, my love had always been older music, and now returning to that music, a piece like the Appassionata, I start to imagine what it might have been like to attend the premiere of that work. What was Beethoven doing that was pushing the boundaries of what was possible in composition for this instrument? You'll hear at the very beginning wild extremes between the softest playing and the loudest possible playing you can imagine for music of that time. And you, about 30 seconds in, I want you to think, or maybe 40 seconds, what were audiences' first reaction to these chords that cascade up the piano out of nowhere? Did they all leave? Were they scared? Did they hate it? Did they love it? These are the kinds of questions that I never really thought about before working with composers writing for me and working through the process. Also, what did Beethoven, how did he get there? Is that straight from his head onto the page, or were there other stages? And we know in the case of Beethoven, we have sketches. I'm not familiar with exactly the sketches for this sonata, but that it was a painstaking process, and you wonder, who was his muse? Was it his own playing? Was there an instrumentalist that he worked with? These are all questions that have occurred to me in working on this piece and other older repertoire. So this Beethoven piano sonata is one of the most popular sonatas. Somehow I never got around to it until now. It's one of those pieces that's so popular that no one plays it. I think it's because of these wild extremes. I'd like to dedicate this performance to my late teacher who passed away last week, Claude Frank, who taught me so much and was especially close to the music of Beethoven.